Our series begins with Ishq entering an abandoned house. She starts to tidy up the place and recalls her school gang and their antics, which earned them the nickname the Worst Individuals Group. We flash back to 1998. At the start of the school year, the first member of the group is Osman, a person who can get money from anywhere. Very self-interested. He makes money by selling homework to students. Principal, Najdat, knows what he's doing but can't do much to stop him except warn him. The second member is Kerem, the most hot-tempered person in the school, ready to fight anyone over trivial matters. He gets kicked off the basketball team for hitting the referee. The third member is Aida, nicknamed the school's devil by the principal. She causes a teacher to be fired after the principal catches them together between classes. The fourth is Saina, a person who doesn't care about anything in life because he's always drunk. He is always late to class. Ishq, a kind-hearted girl who loves romantic stories, has a crush on him and tries to get close to him in any way possible. Najdat announces during the school assembly about a competition against another school to be held at their school and orders the students to behave responsibly and not cause any trouble. The two schools gather in the competition hall. Osman manages to make a bet with the other school that the winner will take the loser's money. He collects money from them to make a profit. Kerem is responsible for getting the microphone for the competition, but breaks it over a student's head who speaks rudely to him. Aida decides to control the competition lights, enters the control room, and messes with the lights until Najdat orders her to leave the room. Try to continue the competition without a microphone. Aida throws a paper at Kerem to anger him more, causing a fight between the two schools, ruining the competition. Sinan stands watching the fight, holding a whiskey bottle, which he drops onto a power strip, causing a fire and further ruining the competition. The school is disqualified from the competition and banned from future ones. The whole group is summoned to a board meeting to decide what to do with them. They start questioning each student and find no hope for them. They vote on the group's final expulsion, requiring all present teachers' approval. The vote ends with 11 votes in favor, 1 against, out of fear for their future. And Najdat is very upset that they slipped away again, as he wishes to expel them and be rid of them. After learning the committee's decision, they need to find out who voted against expelling them and go to Ishq, who attended the board meeting, to find out. Out of fear, she tells them that Miss Burju was the one concerned for their future. They know that Burju is their last hope in the school. Afterward, everyone goes home. Sinan is shown living alone in a big house with his sick grandfather. His parents are not interested in him because they are separated, each with their own family, leaving him to care for his grandfather. The next day, Miss Burku receives a letter approving her transfer from the school she's in to another school in a different city in 2 months. Najdat is very happy with the news because he can finally expel the group without any issues. The news reaches the group and they realize their end is near. They all gather to discuss their next steps and notice that the principal is watching them from his window, determined to expel them. They all gather at Sinan's house to think of a solution and decide that Burku needs to fall in love with someone from the school, so she chooses to stay with him. Since they all fail in matters of love, they turn to ISQ for help. She agrees because she loves Miss Burku and tells them the first and most important thing is to find a suitable candidate for Burku. They start searching among the school's teachers and finally settle on the basketball coach, who was a professional player and retired after an injury. They all agree to start the plan together. We return to ISHQ in Sinan's abandoned house, where she sends letters to all the group members to reunite them. Each member is in a different place and city. They gather after school at Sinan's house and think about how to get Kamal and Burku in one place and attract them to each other. They brainstorm together and stay up late. The next day, they find Kamal hard to deal with, and he can't stand anyone, including Burku. Osman manages to find out Kamal's favorite band through his connections. Their plan is for Kamal and Burku to attend the same concert and meet there. Aida talks to a boy at school, and then Kerem comes and hits the boy, pretending he is harassing Aida, his girlfriend. ISQ makes sure Burku is standing nearby to see what happens. When the fight starts, Burku breaks it up and takes the crying Aida to her office. Aida tells her that she heard Kerem plans to continue the fight at the concert they are attending. Aida begs Burku to come to the concert because Kerem will be afraid to fight in her presence. Aida successfully convinces Burku to go to Kamal's favorite band's concert. They start convincing Kamal himself to attend the concert. Kerem and Osman fail to talk to him because he can't stand anyone, but Sinan manages to sell him a concert ticket by putting the poster in front of him. Kamal buys the ticket and decides to go. After completing their plan, they find out that ISHQ says she can't join them because her mother will refuse. They all go to Ishk's house at the end of the day to convince her mother to let ISHQ join them, promise to take care of her and ensure nothing wrong will happen. They persuade her mother until she agrees. She tells them she loves ISHQ very much, takes care of her like any parent loves their children. Sinan gets upset by what he hears because his parents have left him and don't care about him. He goes to the balcony to stand for a while. When he gets home, he cries because of his parents' neglect. The time for the concert arrives. Group manages to get Kamal and Burku in the same place and excuse themselves for any reason to leave them to talk. Keep an eye on them from a distance, but notice that Burku and Kamal are not talking to each other. Sinan gets an idea and goes to Burku, telling her that someone threw his phone in the bathroom and if she could help him retrieve it. Burku goes to the bathroom, and since it's the men's bathroom, Kamal goes with her. As soon as they enter, Sinan locks the door and puts up a sign saying the bathroom is under repair, leaving them trapped together in the hope that they will bond. However, after some time together, Kamal manages to break the bathroom door and they both come out. The group loses hope and decides to leave the concert. Burku's bag is with ISHQ and she hopes Kamal will take her home because she doesn't have money for a ride. Aida suggests they go to her house since Burku lives in the building across the street. They can keep an eye on her house to see if Kamal drops her off. Kerem starts to develop feelings for Aida and her ways. Since it's late, everyone goes home except Kerem, who stays with Aida waiting for Kamal to show up in his car. He eventually does, parks the car, and goes inside Burku's house with her. They assume their plan worked and that something happened between Kamal and Burku in her apartment. Kamal is the one who got Burku into her house because her keys are in her handbag with IHQ. Burku invites Kamal in for a hot drink. At this point, Kerem is attracted to Aida and she notices. She asks him to leave her house before her family arrives and promises to update him the next day. Kerem leaves, feeling upset. Burku talks about the school and the group that was nearly expelled if it weren't for her. She asks Kemal not to let Najdat expel those students. She leaves the school because she loves them, believes there's hope for them. Burku drinks a lot and becomes drunk. Kamal helps her to bed. She asks him to stay with her so she can sleep comfortably, puts her to bed and goes to sleep on the couch. Meanwhile, Kerem arrives home, where it's evident that his father is a successful businessman, but always belittles him for being a failure. This deeply affects Kerem's personality and is the main reason for his anger issues. The next day, Burku wakes up and is surprised to find Kamal in her apartment. She prepares breakfast for him, but she cuts her finger. Kamal tries to clean her wound, but she gets irritated with him. He tells her he has to leave and excuses himself. The group at school is waiting to see them arrive together to understand what happened between them. They see Burku and Kamal arriving separately, both looking upset, realize that nothing happened between them. As they enter the school, Najdat confronts them, promising that in 1 month he will be able to expel them because their only hope, Miss Burku, will have left the school. They all head to their classroom because they have an exam. As usual, Sinan doesn't care to solve the exam. ESQ switches her exam paper with his, making him pass instead of her, only writing a little on her own paper. She tells the teacher she couldn't study this time. Sinan doesn't understand why she did that for him. As soon as the class is over, Sinan goes to confront ESHQ, who is with the rest of the group, about what she did for him. He is convinced she loves him. Sinan, afraid of love and being loved, tends to push people away when he feels that way. He argues with ESHQ, telling her she shouldn't play the role of the martyr with him or anyone else, and that she needs to be selfish. Kerem gets into a fight with Sinan for yelling at ESQ, saying she helped him and he should be grateful. The group starts fighting among themselves until they decide they don't know each other anymore. Their love plan failed, and there's no hope of avoiding expulsion, so they walk away. Each one tries to release their anger. Kerem picks a fight with people in the street, hitting and getting hit. Sinan goes home to cry and scream. Aida keeps drawing and scribbling until she tears up her drawings and screams in frustration. ESQ goes to take the school's annual photo alone, waiting for them, but they don't show up. She feels lonely with no friends. In the present, ESQ is sitting, waiting for the group to return to her after she sent them all letters to gather at Sinan's old house. She hopes not to feel lonely again like she did on the day of the annual photo. She notices the chandelier above the table has fallen, destroyed the table she had prepared. She looks ahead and sees the bottle Sinan used to drink from, realizing he remained alone and silent after their fight. She notices looks exchanged between Kamal and Burku, realizing there is still something between them that could work. She goes to Osman and apologizes for what happened. She tells him there is an attraction between Burku Burku and Kamal, but their pride prevents them from taking the first step. They come up with a new plan. They might rekindle their love. Their plan could succeed. Kamal indeed likes Burku and tries to get close to her often, but she pushes him away. The group gathers again, and Kerem apologizes for what he did, especially to ISHQ. After school, the group is all heading out when they see Burku greeting and hugging a guy before getting into a car with him. They all assume he's her boyfriend, and that's why she was rejecting Kamal. They realize they were at fault for not investigating her personal life properly. Burku and her boyfriend head to her place, and Aida watches them from her apartment, confirming that he really is her boyfriend. The group's plan changes from bringing Burku and Kamal together to breaking Burku and her boyfriend up first. However, ESHQ objects, saying it's wrong to separate two people for their own personal gain. Sinan tries to prove to ISHQ that Burku's boyfriend doesn't deserve her, that Kamal is a better match for her. Sinan goes out in the rain without his jacket to talk to Burku's boyfriend to see if he will offer him his jacket. He doesn't, until Burku arrives, making it look like he's only chivalrous in front of her. Sinan then does the same with Kamal the next day, and as soon as Kamal sees him, he offers his jacket without knowing why Sinan needs it. Sinan successfully proves to EHQ that Burku's boyfriend is unworthy and that separating them is in her best interest. The next day, they don't find Sinan with them, and they learn that Burku is also off from school. They agree on how to separate her from her boyfriend. Unfortunately, at the same time, Burku's engagement to her boyfriend is taking place in her apartment with both their families present. Burku is upset because she's thinking about Kamal. Sinan is in the hospital with a fever from the rainy day, but the hospital needs his parents' consent to administer certain medications. Since he's alone, he leaves the hospital, and as soon as he steps outside, faints. He remains unconscious on the ground until he's taken to emergency care, treated, and sent back home alone. Certain that Sinan is unwell, EHQ goes to check on, bringing him food. She tells him that Burku is now engaged, confirmed when Aida checked on her and learned her engagement was that day. They all gather at Sinan's house, where Osman tells them the fiancé's name is Tunkoy, a clerk at the land registry office. They realize they need to change their plan from separating Burku and Tunkay to convincing Tunkay to stay in Istanbul and not take Burku away. Sinan warns them that a greedy person can't be defeated by intelligence alone. They keep Kamal's plan as a backup and continue working on it to maintain the attraction between Burku and Kamal. Osman has a plan and returns Kamal's jacket to Tunkay, pretending it's his own and saying he knows the jacket is expensive, which is why he took it from Sinan to return it himself. Knowing that Tunkay is greedy from observing him, Osman watches as Tunkay accepts the jacket as his own. Osman then invites Tunkay to a meal, and he agrees. He tries to tempt him with the idea that working in Istanbul is very lucrative and easy. He takes him to show the business he's running, explaining that he sells food to students through contracts with many vendors who offer cheaper sandwiches. He also runs a fake storefront that looks like an authorized shop, so the school deals exclusively with him. He makes money even though he's still a student. Osman offers him a position to help with the business, making him think about it. EHQ goes to the teacher's room and, as the student council president, suggests that the upcoming party be supervised by Burku and Kamal. She explains that Burku is leaving soon. They want to spend more time with her as a farewell, and Kamal, being a new teacher, will get to bond more with the students. Her suggestion is accepted. Burku goes to tell Kamal that they are stuck working together on the party preparations. Sinan, who has taken a day off from school, gets dressed and heads there to see ISHQ because he has started to like her due to her caring nature. He meets her and tells her that he wants to study, learn, and succeed to improve his future. He admits he doesn't know why, but he's determined to graduate. ESHQ thinks he's mocking her as usual and tells him she's had enough of his tricks, sure that he's ridiculing her love for studying, and walks away to continue the rehearsal. Aida is also participating in the rehearsal, and Kerem watches her. His classmate Burak, who previously fought with him, tells Kerem he likes Aida and wants him to back off. Kerem threatens that if Burak gets close to her again, he'll hit him like before. Kerem decides he needs to confess his feelings to Aida. He tells her he knows there are feelings between them and wants to know what he's lacking that makes her reject him. She admits she's not used to someone occupying her thoughts like he does or controlling her mind, which is why she distances herself from him. She leaves him and goes back to her class. Kerem then tells Burak that he's no longer pursuing Aida and that Burak is free to talk to or even date her if he wants. Meanwhile, Kamal continues working with Burku on the party preparations. Burku starts comparing Kamal and Tunkay. She finds Tunkay to be dependable, but only focused on sports and work, unlike Kamal, who enjoys talking with her about everything and teaches her how to play basketball. The next day, Tunkay is wearing Kamal's jacket and arrives at the school with Burku to meet with Najdat because he has something important to tell him. After a while, Osman notices all the students buying sandwiches around the school and realizes something is wrong. He goes to his shop managed by Ali, and learns that Tunkay reported to the school administration that the shop's paperwork was forged, causing the shop to be shut down and everyone working with Osman to lose their jobs. Osman recalls Sinan's words about greedy people not being defeated by intelligence alone. He has a student run up to Tunkay, calling him a thief and accusing him of stealing the jacket in front of Burku. The student takes Tunkay's jacket and gives it to Osman, who stares at Tunkay as if declaring war for what he did. Osman walks alone down the street until he calls his father to come and get him, asking if he knows anyone at the land registry office. Meanwhile, Kamal confesses his love to Burku, but she has to admit her engagement to him, explaining she doesn't wear the ring because it bothers her. She tries her best to stop thinking about it and is unsure how to handle the situation, especially since she's supposed to move to another city and get married in less than a month. Kamal tells her he will make things easier for her and leaves while she cries. At the end of the day, Tunkay brings her the ring. She puts it on, announcing her engagement to her colleagues at school in front of Kamal. Next day, the students continue their party rehearsals, with the whole group participating. They learn that Ishq's birthday is in 3 days. Unfortunately, every time Sinan tries to speak, he ruins the moment, even if he intends to say something nice to Ishq, making her feel there's no hope for him. Burku is training them alone because Kamal didn't show up for the rehearsal. She goes to his room and tells him he must be at the rehearsal despite any issues between them. He responds that not everything revolves around her and that he didn't attend because he has work but will be there tomorrow. As Burku leaves his room, she meets her colleague who admits she likes Kamal and wants Burku to help bring them closer. Burku refuses to get involved in such personal matters and continues with the rehearsal. The next day, Osman begins his plan for revenge against Tunkay. He has Ali bump into Tunkay and pretend to talk on the phone about selling his land for 2 million instead of 5 million because he needs the money urgently. Tunkay, tempted by this, offers to help Ali and even gives him a deposit with all the money he has. This is exactly what Osman wants to complete his plan. After school, Burak goes to talk to Ida, saying he wants to date her because he heard from Kerem that she broke up with him, that he doesn't mind her dating someone else. Ada gets even angrier about what Kerem said and goes to Sinan, the group's philosopher, asking him to analyze her personality. He tells her she is a coward hiding behind fake bravery, that her relationship with Kerem ended because it's her nature to run away, that she's shallow and only cares about what people think. Aida retorts that if she's a coward, then so is he for not confessing his feelings to Ishq and instead pushing her away with his irritating behavior. At the same time, Tunkay is packing and tells Burku he'll be leaving the city for 2 days for an important job that could earn him a lot of money. This is a golden opportunity for the group to bring Burku closer to Kamal again, hoping to renew their relationship. They decide that Ishq and Aida should visit Burku and talk to her. After school, Burak asks Aida out for lunch. Kerem intervenes, saying their relationship is nice, they should give themselves a chance to get to know each other better, doing this to provoke Aida. Aida agrees to the lunch invitation, but ends up talking about Kerem the whole time, his mannerisms and personality. Burak realizes he's of no significance and that Aida loves Kerem. He fights with her, accusing her of using him to make Kerem jealous, and says he'll make her regret it before leaving. Aida goes to meet Ishq and they head to Burku's place under the pretext of saying goodbye before she leaves. Burku agrees to serve them wine at Aida's request. They drink together, each talking about themselves and their dream partner. They tell Burku she needs to be sure her fiancé is husband material for life. Before leaving, Aida takes out Kamal's jacket from her bag and asks Burku to give it to him. They then go to meet the rest of the group, get on a boat, celebrate Ishq's birthday. Ishq forgets her family has planned a birthday party for her and is waiting for her. She makes a pact with the group to meet again on the same day in 20 years. Just before blowing out the candle, she falls into the sea. Sinan dives in to save her. Aida confesses her love to Kerem. Burku, reflecting on what she's heard, decides to take off her engagement ring and personally give Kamal his jacket. Before Burku leaves the house, she sees Tunkay in front of her, goes back inside. She tells him she needs to talk about something important. He admits his mistake and promises to return all the money. Burku doesn't understand what he's talking about, and he explains that he took all her money and paid a deposit to a con man to buy land, only to find out it was a scam. Burku tells him she wants to break up with him even before knowing about the money. She expresses all her feelings, saying she's not his servant. He doesn't care about her. She'd rather be alone than marry him. She kicks him out of the house, feeling happy with what she did. She then goes to Kamal's house, but finds him with her colleague Billy. Refusing to listen to him, She leaves and returns home crying. In the present, IHQ is preparing food and drinks, waiting for the rest of the group to arrive, but they are late. She feels upset that they left her alone and didn't respond to her messages. She throws the bottle in her hand, breaking it, but then hears a knock at the door. We flash back to the group in school, where Burak plans to fight Kerem. He confronts him in the bathroom, but before the fight starts, a teacher enters, and they can't fight, so they leave the bathroom. However, they trap Kerem in the newly built lab and start beating him. Osman, knowing Kerem is in trouble, searches for him with Sinan. They enter the lab, and a fight breaks out between everyone present, with the girls joining in too. The new lab is completely destroyed. The situation escalates to the principal, and the whole group is sent for investigation. Burku arrives late after being informed of what happened by phone. Najdat is waiting for her and tells her he has permission from the minister to expel the students by majority vote instead of a unanimous vote, and the meeting will be held immediately. Before entering the investigation room, Burku asks Kamal to trigger the fire alarm. Kamal follows her instructions, and the whole school evacuates to the yard. Burku meets with the group to understand the reason for the fight. They explain they did it to protect Kerem from being beat, that they weren't the ones who started the fight. Burku tells them she tried to help, but this time expulsion will be decided by majority vote. She wishes she could help them more. The meeting is postponed to Friday. She won't be able to assist them with her vote. Kamal then asks Sinan about the reason for the fight and mentions that he pulled the fire alarm to help them at Burku's request. Sinan tells him he's finally starting to care about someone other than himself, that his love for Burku is evident as he followed her instructions without question. Sinan's words help Kamal come to terms with his feelings as he watches Burku, realizing he truly loves her. The entire group has resigned themselves to the fact that they will be expelled and decide to inform their parents. Each parent offers different solutions. Some suggest transferring their daughter before she gets expelled to avoid having it on her record, and others propose bribing the school. Sinan is the only one who doesn't know how to talk to his parents because they are always too busy for him. He notices a painting that was admired by ISHQ is missing from its place and realizes his father took it to his other house, ignoring Sinan's fondness for it as usual and caring only about his second home. The group gathers the next day without ISHQ, who is grounded at home. Ada informs them that her parents decided to transfer her to a school in France before the council meeting to avoid the expulsion being on her record. None of them can help her, and Kerem agrees with her parents' decision that she needs to save herself. At the abandoned house, Ada is the first to visit EHQ after receiving her message. Meanwhile, Burku is trying to think of a way to prevent the group from being expelled when she hears a knock on the door. It's Tun K, hoping to reconcile, thinking someone influenced her decision. She tells him she's not a child to be swayed by others' opinions, and that she is her own woman who doesn't want to get back with him. She shuts the door in his face. When there's another knock, she angrily goes to confront Tunkai again, but finds Kamal instead. He says he came to think of a solution together. She remarks that he could think of a solution with Billy instead, showing her jealousy, but she lets him in. They brainstorm together, and Kamal tells her he has seen all the students' files. There is no hope of saving them from expulsion. He urges her to be brave, admit defeat, as there is no way to save them. We return to ISHQ and Aida at Sinan's abandoned house, talking about their lives. Aida brings a painting as a gift for ISHQ to celebrate her move to the new house, saying she'll finally get to keep it. ISHQ opens the gift and finds it is the same painting she admired at Sinan's house. Upon seeing it, EHQ breaks down in tears, and Ada hugs her. They sit by the sea, and Ada holds Ishq's hand, drawing on it as she used to do on her bandage back when they were in school, waiting for the board's decision about their expulsion. Burku was the only one who spoke in their favor, trying her best to defend them by highlighting their circumstances and the mistreatment they faced from their parents. She argued that the board shouldn't destroy their academic lives as it might be their last hope. She warned that if they voted for expulsion, they'd be responsible for any drastic actions the students might take, including suicide. Burku managed to sway the votes, making Najdat the only one in favor of expulsion, while the rest voted for the students to apologize for their actions, giving them a final warning. The apology was to be made in front of the whole school during the morning assembly. However, Kerem objected to the idea of him and Ada apologizing, making the situation more difficult due to their pride and dignity. Burku went to Kamal's office at his request. He told her that despite advising her to give up, she fought and succeeded in saving the students, which he admired. He expressed his wish that he had a chance with her despite her engagement. Burku then revealed she had broken off her engagement, making Kamal very happy, and he finally confessed his love for her, leading to their relationship. At the end of the day, the matter of the apology reached Kerem's parents. For the first time, his father apologized to Kerem for forcing him into many things and admitted he never intended to belittle him, expressing his love for him regardless of what happened. He asked Kerem to apologize for what happened, assuring him that he and his mother would be there so he wouldn't feel weak in front of the school. Ada experienced a similar situation, with her mother promising to always support and encourage her in what she loves. The whole group gathered before school, all agreeing to apologize in the assembly to continue their studies. They all went to school with their parents, except Sinan, who was alone. The entire school awaited their apology for what they had done. Najdat prepared a full apology for them to read, aiming to completely humiliate them. Sinan stood alone until Kamal approached him, adjusted his clothes, and assured him he wasn't alone. Sinan asked Kamal if he was now with Burku, and upon hearing that they were together, Sinan revealed that their goal all along was to avoid expulsion by getting Kamal and Burku together. Burku realized everything the group had been doing before. They were trying to bring her and Kamal together by any means. She decides to leave the school and not attend the assembly, the apology. When it's Najdat's turn to speak at the assembly, he says that it's time for those who made mistakes to admit them and apologize. Papers are handed out for them to read aloud. When it's Sinan's turn to speak, he says in front of the school that he's not sorry for what he did, won't apologize. He drops the microphone and steps down. Ada then says she won't apologize either, that more importantly, Najdat should change his suit and shoes because they're disgusting. She throws the apology paper on the ground and stands next to Sinan. Before Karim speaks, Najdat tells him that his father agreed to rebuild the entire lab and his apology is just a formality. Karim introduces himself and tells the assembly that he won't apologize because it's his nature. He won't apologize for a useless lab. ESQ steps up and, before speaking, recalls all the moments she shared with her friends, her birthday wish that they'd all still be in each other's lives in 20 years. She tells them she's not sorry for what happened, that they were defending Karim who was being beat. She couldn't just stand by. If it happened again, she'd do the same thing because she's proud of what she did. The students applaud her. When it's Osman's turn, he stands silently for a moment and then says he won't apologize. He joins his friends, and everyone who knows Osman is happy about what happened. The 5 of them are expelled from the school. They gather at Sinan's house to burn their school uniforms. Burku thinks the love between her and Kamal was fake, but Kamal catches her before she leaves and tells her that everything that happened was because they love each other. They continue their relationship. Ada and IHQ are sitting in Sinan's abandoned house, reminiscing about all their memories until the house starts to collapse. The picture of them as teenagers falls and breaks. Ada holds it and cries about her life, her failures, and everything that happened. IHQ tries to comfort her, telling her they need to get out of the house before it collapses on them. Just before they leave, they hear another knock at the door.